Follow us on our social media handles at Oweleke TV. Visit our website at www.oweleketv for a thrilling journey. Oweleke TV, rising star at the fairground.
One of the big problems that we have in this country is the fact that pensioners are dying every day because their pension is not being paid, and that's after serving the country for a very long time, 35 years, and these people are aged. What would you have to make of that? My name is Ramsey, and welcome to today's edition of Review. It's a beautiful day, and I'm so excited because it's weekend, of course. And joining me on the program today is a political and public affairs analyst, Oweleke. Oweleke is going to be joining us today, and of course, I'm happy to have you. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
All right. Let's get into what we want to talk about today. It's about the pension, yeah?
Exactly.
You know, as a matter of fact, from the papers this morning, it's trending everywhere on all the papers. And people are saying it everywhere because anything that has to do with pensioners is either you are a pensioner or your father or your uncle or someone related to you is a pensioner. NLC, okay, and TUC kick against the federal government's plan to use pension fund for infrastructure. NLC, TUC are kicking against the federal government's plan, okay, to use the pension money for infrastructure. And there is a rumor that about 70% of this money is already being assessed by the federal government. So let's get to know what you think about this move by NLC and TUC.
I think to start with to say it's not just NLC and TUC that is against the use of pension fund. My humble self and several economists as well as analysts are also against the use of pension fund for anything that matter. I could remember when that particular pension fund, before it rose to the current 20 trillion that it is in terms of the bulk of the money that is there, when it was around 5 trillion, 6 trillion some years back, the federal government also initiated move to make use of that money. Although, according to the act that established the pension fund administration in Nigeria, 5% of such fund could be put into investment. But the problem that we had is that while the fear is being elicited by Nigerians, particularly from the labor union as well as analysts and economists like my own, is that we can't trust the government with such money because of the frivolous activities of government when they cannot show accountability of other money that they are used for. Take, for instance, the particular sector that the government want to put the money to. It talks about infrastructure like road, like housing. There is also an housing fund that till today nobody could give account of how trillions of naira have been spent on that money. So when NLC now came up and said, no, federal government should not borrow that money or the federal government should not make use of that money, people like us also rose in unison and said, no, the federal government must not touch that particular money, even though the act give excesses of 5% of such money to be invested, but not the entire money as the federal government is thinking. But we just hope that as we speak right now, the federal government is thinking through and wanting to say, okay, this particular money that we're talking about, we're not going to make use of it, but we're just thinking of long-term investment or long-term financial stabilization, which can come from long-term funding like the pension fund that we're talking about.
All right, thank you very much. That's a clarification, okay, about what pension is all about. So as it is now, let me ask you, Oweleke, as it is. As a matter of fact, pensioners in Nigeria, what would you have to say about how pensioners in Nigeria is being treated? Because people are raising eyebrow right now because of what is on ground. Okay, like you said, 5% can be assessed at least for investment. But then you said something very valid. You talked about accountability.
Exactly.
All right. Someone may say, I want to take this 5% for infrastructure, and it goes somewhere else.
Exactly.
So what would you have to say about the treatment being meted to pensioners, and why is it so?
I think we need to understand how pension is being structured in Nigeria. There are about 3 forms of pension structure in Nigeria. We have the paid pension administration. We also have the paid pension administration, as well as the one that has to do with a voluntary contribution of pension. I think the voluntary contribution of pension has become a challenge in a sense that most organizations don't follow the rules that guide how pension administration is being done in Nigeria. And that's why I see that, particularly at the state level, most of the contributions have not been effective to ensure that this money go to the right administration that will help the pensioner to administer the money. And that's why I see that at state level, majorly, at state level, they complain about their pension not being paid promptly as expected. And then another aspect has to do with the way most of the pension administrator company have been handling the pension money that people are paying to them. And that has become a challenge that, if you remember, there was a time that there was this financial stability globally. If you also recall that most of these pension funds are like sludge, we call it sludge fund that could be accessed anywhere. So most of the administrators went and put the money in some businesses that could not yield enough profit for them, and that's why it affected pension distribution across Nigeria. But as we speak right now, there's one that is being administered, and we just hope that every contributor can key into it and ensure that the administration money is given to them at the right time as expected.
All right. What would you have to say to Nigerians? Because a lot of people are worried. Anything that has to do with pension, like I said earlier, a lot of Nigerians are worried now. Is it still going to be the same thing? Is it going to be the same way? You know, what would you have to say to Nigerians, especially pensioners who are already thinking something different? What would you say to pensioners and Nigerians as it has to do with
I think we need
pension?
to start with people who are already getting to the level of the point of getting retired. I think at the federal level, there are several programs that have been stated for them in terms of post-retirement training and pre-retirement training programs that ensure that these people are engaged in a way that either they are going to entrepreneurship or whatever program they can go to help them to be able to stabilize their pension and the rest of after retirement. Then the key issue has to do with state. At the federal level, we have stability in terms of pension contribution, but the state issues is where we have issue whereby their state governors may not be able to pay their pension as expected because of the borrowing spree of some state governors. And that has caused a lot of challenges for pension at state level. At the federal level, there is still a bit of stability, there's still a bit of transparency, but more work needs to be done. And for the pensioners themselves who are getting to the level of getting retired, the key message is that your documentation must be done properly. If your documentation is not done properly, at the time that you are going for pre-retirement programs or you after retirement, you are going for post-retirement program, you will have challenges when your documentation need to be processed. And that's where most of these challenges come into pension. Because when your document is not processed as expected, definitely you may have challenge in terms of payment. Then choosing your pension administrator is also very key. There are some fraudulent pension administrators that are not taking time to process the document of their candidate or the applicant. It's very important that we also say this, because that will go a long way to ensure we have a transparent and accountable pension administration in Nigeria. All
right, finally, before I let you go, that is so educative. The reason why we are saying this, Nigerians, is for you to know, okay, what you need to do before you get retired, because a lot of people retire and they get tired. All right, but the preparation that comes before your retirement will go a long way positioning you so that you don't get disappointed at the end of the day. But now, Oweleke, let me find out from you what you think about how pensioners have been treated in Nigeria by the federal government. What do you think, okay, about treatment coming from the federal government to pensioners? Because we've had times when pensioners will have to go through rigorous processes before they are being paid their pension. Is it that we have problem with record keeping in Nigeria? Because for you to go and start asking that elderly man walking with a stick, or maybe being aided by a son or a daughter, okay, to come collect the pension, are we trying to say records are not properly kept in Nigeria, or it's just in a bid for the government to punish these people who are pensioners?
I think to start with, to understand verification exercise that's being carried out by pensioners as well as federal government on every 2 to 3 years or 4 years, a verification exercise is carried out. It is at the point of that verification exercise that we normally have the challenges whereby pensioners will now suffer this maltreatment that you are talking about, in a sense that by the point of verification, they will now call for physical verification. Because as a period, they will look at the numbers of pensioners that are now deceased. They don't want to know the ones that are alive. So it was that period that this verification exercise normally caused that hardship and that pain to pensioners. But over time, we have discovered that there is a new trend of how technology has been used to enhance that verification exercise, whereby pensioners just need to go and do their biometric either by themselves or either at a cafe, so they can enable them to be able to verify. But we just hope that a more seamless approach, a more seamless system will be attached to it, so that we can have a seamless way whereby we will not be maltreating our pensioners when they go for verification. And again, another aspect where they are being maltreated is that their money is not being paid at the prompt time. When I mean prompt time, at the right time that it's supposed to be paid. You mean someone that's supposed to collect pension for the month of April or collect his gratuity as he's leaving the service will not get it after a year or two. That need to be corrected, and those are the challenges that pensioners are being faced. But we just hope that the current government will be able to put in place a system that will reduce some of the challenges, maltreatment, and some of the the problem associated with collection of gratuity, particularly, as well as not shortchanging people who want to collect gratuity, because we have discovered that right now people are being shortchanged when it comes to the collection of gratuity.
Right,
so that needs also to be corrected in the sense that the calculation that will be input to ensure that the right gratuity is paid to, particularly servicemen, people in military or paramilitary agencies are being faced with these kind of challenges. And we just hope that all will be put in the boot, and Nigerians who are, leaving the service, who are retiring, we have smile that after serving their fatherland, they also have a smile to go and rest peacefully with what they have been given.
In just 2 sentences before I let you go, I said I was going to let you go after that question, but then this question just came to my mind. What's your assessment of the Tinubu-led administration as it has to do with pension? Though they are new in office, but then if you see a toad jumping in the daylight, you should know that, whether it's going to go far or not. Or it's your assessment of this present administration as it has to do with dealings with pensioners so far?
I think the problem associated with pension from 1999 is still definitely the process of pension in Nigeria, and the current government have not taken a bold step to address the challenges. So the problems still continue. We just hope that the government will have a way to change and be able to address the challenges in our pension administration for the past 22 years, particularly when it comes to the release of money and the payment of gratuity for people who have retired in the service. I think these are the problems that I've seen. We just hope maybe after his 4 years, that problem will go. But if it remains, it means that he met it just like Buhari met it and left it undone.
Buhari met it and left it undone. That's insensitive for me. If you ask me, that's what I'm going to say, and that's my own perspective. Then Tinubu is right here. Is he going to meet it and leave it, or he's going to do something about that? That's the question that we'll wait for. Maybe in the next 1, 2, 3 to the 4th year, and see if anything is going to be done. And I won't say categorically to pensioners, just stay cool, stay calm. Everything is going to work out fine in your favor. Thank you very much, Oweleke, for coming around on today's review. We hope to have you some other time again. And thank you, viewers, for being there. We'll come on your way again, but not tomorrow. It's going to be on Monday because this is Friday. We just need to go and do a little jollification over the weekend. We'll come on your way again, same time, same station, and that's going to be on Monday. Have a fruitful weekend ahead of you, and bye-bye for now. My name is Ramsey Enoch.
Follow us on our social media handles at Oweleke TV. Visit our website at www.oweleketv for a thrilling journey. Oweleke TV, rising star at the fairground.